In day 5, we're going to work with inequalities with variables on both sides. We're going to solve our inequalities just like we solved our equation, so a lot of this should seem familiar to you. When I'm solving my inequality, the first thing I want to do is get my x's on the same side. I can either subtract 2x from both sides, or I could subtract 4x from both sides. Since I want to write my answer as a complete sentence, with inequalities it's easier if your variable is over here on the left so you don't have to switch it later. So I'm going to start by subtracting 4x on both sides. And when I do that, I end up with negative 2x on the left minus 4 is greater than or equal to negative 1, since these will cancel out. Now if I take a look at my x, I'm multiplying it by negative 2, and I'm subtracting 4. I must get rid of that minus 4 first, because I'm going the reverse order of operations. So to get rid of that minus 4, I'm going to add 4. So I'm going to add 4 on the left, which means I also have to add 4 on the right. And that gives me negative 2x greater than or equal to 3. My last step here, since I'm multiplying by negative 2, would be to divide by negative 2. So I'm going to divide the left by negative 2 and the right-hand side by negative 2. And then I have to remember my rule that we learned in Chapter 2, that if we divide both sides by a negative, we have to switch our inequality sign. So that inequality sign has to go from a greater than or equal to a less than or equal to. On the left-hand side, those negative 2's will cancel and my x comes down. And on the right-hand side, 3 divided by negative 2 is negative 3 over 2. And then I want to write this as a complete sentence, so I can write x is less than or equal to negative 3 over 2. And then we're going to come over here to letter B, where we have 1/4 k minus 6 is greater than 3/4 k plus 12. Since I have the parentheses over here on the right, I have to get rid of that by distributing first. So I'm going to keep my left-hand side the same, which is 1/4 k minus 6. And then on the right-hand side, I'm going to take 3/4 and multiply it by k to give me 3/4 k. And then I'm going to take my 3/4 times 12 to give me a positive 9. Now I need to get my k's on the same side. I could subtract 1/4 k from both sides, or I could subtract 3/4 k from both sides. It doesn't really matter, but like I said before, sometimes it's easier just to get your k's over here on the left-hand side. So let's do that. To do that, we'd have to subtract 3/4, oops, that's a 3/4 k on the right, and we'll subtract 3/4 k on the left. Doing that, 1/4 minus 3/4 will give us negative 1/2 k minus 6 greater than, since these will cancel out, we're just left with the 9. I must get rid of what's being subtracted first, which means I have to add 6 to both sides to get rid of that negative 6. Doing that, I get negative 1/2 k is greater than 15. And then my last step, to get rid of this negative 1/2 that's being multiplied, I have two options. I can either multiply by the reciprocal, which would be negative 2 over 1, or I could just divide by negative 1/2. So let's just do the division. So we're going to divide both sides by negative 1/2. And since we divided by a negative again, we have to switch that sign. So that's going to become a less than sign. The negative 1/2 will cancel and we get k. And 15 divided by negative 1/2 will give us negative 30. So in a complete sentence, this would say k is less than negative 30. Now I would like you to try, or do the try this, which is right here. When you're done with it, check your answer. Call me over if you have any questions. Go ahead and hit the pause button right now. If you did the try this correctly, you should get x is greater than 1 over 6. If you did not get this, please raise your hand so I can explain it to you.